And my big fun when I got older was going to church. And we would walk on, myself and my friends. And the church was built above ground on poles so that the water couldn't get into it. And the pigs would get under the church when we were having church service, and they'd be squealing and bumping in each other. And we just thought that was hilarious. And all those kids would walk home together. And I guess that's where I probably had my first boyfriend. And we would have parties. We'd go out and build a big fire, and we would roast chicken or whatever we had in this fire. And it was just neighborhood kids. It'd be a whole group of us. We had no drugs, no tobacco, no alcohol. It was a lot of fun game. And that's how I knew that my first boyfriend was interested in me, because he would always come up to me and he would want to walk me home. But I really didn't think of him as a boyfriend until later. And he was drafted into the Navy. And when he came home from the Navy, we became pretty close. And when he went back to the Navy, he sent me an engagement ring, although we never talked about marriage. But I guess we knew we kind of loved each other. But then came John Higgins. He came into town with his first lieutenant uniform on. And before that, after I graduated from high school, there was no money. My sisters pitched in that were working at the time and bought my first graduation dress. Maybe the first one I'd had really new, because my mother sewed and made my clothes, and a lot of my underclothes and sheets and everything were made out of feed sacks. The feed would come in printed material or white material or red material, and we used that to make our clothes, our sheets, our pillowcases. So when I got into high school, my sisters, or some of them married, and they would pitch in their funds to buy me store-bought clothes. And they pitched in $1, and they excused me from school because nobody had permanents in on our hair. And my sisters pitched in $1, and they excused me from going to school to get a perm in my hair. And I thought I was just gorgeous with some curls in my hair. And actually, I had a lot of boys interested in me. I guess I was kind of cute because I had a cute figure, and I had the long blonde hair, and I had a kind of kind, gentle personality. But I had 6 boys that were in the service that asked me to marry them before Mr. Higgins came into the picture. But he came in, and he kept coming into the restaurant where I was a waitress. And I would pack his lunch because he got a job on a seismic crew with his brother. And I would pack his lunch in the restaurant to take out in the field. And the first time he asked me out, we went to a movie. And then the second time he asked me out, he went to the little local drugstore there and brought me the most fabulous perfume, powder, everything set. It was very expensive to me. I'd never had anything like that. And then we kept going out, and then he asked me to marry him. But he expected that I would become Catholic, and I did after a while. But the first time I went to the Catholic church, I thought it was the most boring thing I had ever been to in my life. But I took instructions. And the day he come to pick me up to leave for Wyoming and to be married, my mother had been out in the garden picking vegetables, and he come to pick me up, and my mother cried. And she told him to be sure that we were married, not to just take me away. So we stopped in Juneau, Louisiana, and were married by a justice of the peace. And our first night together was in Shreveport, Louisiana. And he took me to a restaurant. Rather than working to a restaurant, I could order. And then the next night we went to Wichita Falls, and I'd never been that far in my life. And he treated me so beautiful and wonderful. but I had no new dress for my wedding. And the dress that I had planned on wearing to my wedding, I washed, and it was some sort of crepe, and it shrank, so I couldn't wear it. So I just had to pull a dress out of the closet and wear it, and was married in it. And I had no new underclothes or anything to be married in. But he loved me in spite of it, and we stopped in Denver, Colorado, and spent 2 or 3 days, and him showing me all about Colorado and places I had never seen. And we were very much in love, kids. I was 18 years old. But back to Mr. Higgins. When he walked in, I knew he was very handsome, very dignitary in his first lieutenant uniform. He acted differently. He responded differently than the boys I had been going out with. And I knew that he had some money, and he bought a car. And he went out to my parents' house, and he accepted my parents and the way I lived. Anyway, I don't know why I got attracted to him or he got attracted to me, because we came from two different worlds. But anyway, we married, and then when I got to Wyoming, we went to the church and heard our marriage, another marriage, and blessed in the church. And then after that, we packed everything that we had. We lived in Wyoming for a while with his mother and sister, because we couldn't find an apartment. There was none available. And he went back to school, taking some courses in geology in Casper, Wyoming, and he set up before he went into the service and into college, he had a traveling picture machine. He would take it around to schools and fairs and take pictures, and then at night he would go into the room, which he made a dark room, and develop them. And while he was in school, I ran the picture machine, and the young men thought I was available for dating. So I had lots of flirting and fun running that picture machine until I started being pregnant. And then I quit, and he started running it.